Good evening, this is Leslie from LuvINK&Paper. So I was trying to get myself on camera for you guys, but I was having a really hard time with that, so you don't get that. Sorry. Anyway, what you're looking at is a picture of the stamped flower from last month's paper pumpkin. The lovely day, I believe it was, yep. And so I thought we'd play a little bit. I brought some of my Stampin' Blends home from the studio, and so I thought I'd show you a couple of things with that. I'm also going to show you a couple of other things that are kind of fun. So if you've got something that you are ready to color, then let's get going. I'm going to choose let's see, the light and the dark Flirty Flamingo, and I brought home the Old Olive blends for the leaves. We'll go with that for now. So what you may see in actually a lot of Stampin' Up's line art stamps are these lines, and they are great for helping you shade. I like to start with a little bit of dark on just some of those dark lines like that, and sometimes right along the edge of a petal. So you're going to notice that I'm going to put the tops back on and take them off a lot. When I go to actually blend, I like to use the sturdier nib. So this is the lighter, and I just go right over that, kind of. And the more times you go over with the light color, you're actually adding layers of color. So you'll notice that it doesn't streak when I go over. I'm not seeing those kinds of things. So I'm hoping that the little buzzy sounds and things that I'm hearing from my phone means some of you guys are coming to say hello. I don't have one of those fancy setups where I can see everybody and say hello to you personally and all of that. Maybe we'll get there, but not yet. So you can actually add layers of color by going back over with your light blend. I do use the brush tip end. They show it as the wider one, but if I'm very, very gentle and don't bear down hard, I find it to be the skinnier tip. Ooh, I picked up a fuzz. I don't know where that came from. Probably one of the cats. They've been running around here all day. Whoops, not that end. I could use that end, but I find that this firmer nib end, which has the narrower line, is sturdier. And so when I'm going to be rubbing or moving around a lot, I like to do that end. Now, some people like to start with the light and add the dark later, and that's certainly an option. It's not going to hurt anything for sure, but I personally, and you'll see that as I color and as the alcohol evaporates, the color changes just a little bit. So if you're not happy with something, just give it a second. Just give it a minute to dry, and you can kind of go back and look at it and say, oh, I think maybe I'd like this a little darker, and I'll just add another layer of color there. And then I'm going to let it sit, and I'll move to something else, or I'll take the dark marker and color in, because I'm not going to actually blend these little buds or berries or whatever these are. I'm just going to color them with the dark pink, the dark Flirty Flamingo. marker. And see that where I put that second layer is starting to look a little darker, which is pretty cool. So I just heard another little buzz and ding. I'm hoping that means somebody else popped in and is saying hello. Again, I'd love to have you leave your pictures in the comments and show us what you're working on this snowy New England evening. They said it wasn't really gonna adhere to the paved surfaces much, but last time I looked, it was sticking pretty good, so I'm not sure how much we're gonna end up getting, but I sure am glad that the oil tank is in and they're bringing us oil tomorrow. Oh, hey, Julian. I guess one of the kitties came in to say hello, and he's over sitting looking out the window. Oops, it wasn't Julian. My bad, it was Spaz. Anyway, so that is a really pretty image, and I'll finish it up a little later and probably put it on a card. But one of the other things I wanted to show you guys, and I hope I brought it in here. I think I did. Uh-oh. I may have to call Richard. Yeah, I may have to call Richard. Anyway, there is a Flowering Florals designer series paper that is available as one of the Stampin' Up! The Celebration choices now. It is really, really pretty. This one is a two-tone. It's got some silver foiling and some rose gold foiling. I happen to color this one with just regular stamp pads and a sponge dauber. I thought I was all set up and ready in here, and I clearly did not do a very good job with this one because I don't have the sponge daubers. I don't have a couple of other things that I wanted, but anyway. So it's really, really pretty, and I liked coloring. It was just right from the ink pad and right on there. So I'll probably do a card with that too. Another thing I wanted to show you guys, and I guess we'll just stamp the boots from this month's paper pumpkin, because I really like them. They're really cute. So the fun thing with, if you haven't seen the Wink of Stella yet, the fun thing about the Wink of Stella is you can use it just like you would use a blender pen and pick up ink from the cover of your stamp pad. So I just gave it a good squeeze, and so you just pick up a little, and when you color with that, it's sparkly. So it's a little harder to manage and not have it look streaky, but on wet rain boots, that's okay. I don't mind if it's a little streaky on wet rain boots. I'll get in next to that label a little bit. And then here in a second, I'm going to pick it up and tilt the work so you can see the shimmer, because it's really pretty. So pretty much this has become my new favorite. Well, not new. We've had it for a while now. The Wink of Stella pen, but I use it for a lot. I'm going to just lightly go down here and get that a little bit lighter. Well, everybody's decided to come in and see what I'm doing, so I think I have all three of the cats in here. So now, if I tilt that, I don't know if you can see, but there's some really pretty sparkle to those rain boots, which is really fun. So you can just color with the Wink&Stella pen, and then when you're done, you just clean it off just like you would your blender pen. We've had those blender pens, I think, since yeah, we had them when I started stamping, so they're pretty fun. I don't know who's looking out this window behind the curtain over here, but I might have to figure out, move some things and close the door. So I thought I'd try and come live tonight, and then I'm thinking maybe Wednesday, and I've got a fun card that I learned how to make, a neat base. So I just run it till it runs clear, just brush it till it goes clear. So I thought I'd maybe teach you guys that, and we'll see how that goes. And go back to the flower. I wanted to give it a chance to dry, and you can see where I went over that edge of that petal. It's gotten quite a bit darker than any of the other sections, so that was one of the things I wanted to show you. And I'll just keep working over here a little bit. And we'll just color together for a little while. If you're coloring at home, which I hope you are, because it's a really nice, relaxing thing to do. I do that a lot. Grab the wrong end and then have to go back and get the other end. With your blends, you definitely don't want to, even if you're coming back to the same color really frequently, you definitely don't want to leave them sitting open on your desk, because they are alcohol based, and alcohol evaporates a lot faster than water. And your regular markers, the Stampin' Write markers, are dye-based or water-based markers. So you want to make sure those are okay to leave open, although I generally don't. But these you definitely want to put the cap on and take the cap off as you color, so that you don't end up with dried out blends. So I'm going to go in close here, because right at the base of the petal is where you definitely want it darkest. I may even go add a little bit more right along the edge here. There. And I will take this and just soften that edge just a tiny bit. Some of the colors, the edges soften a little bit easier for some reason, and I probably shouldn't have chosen this color. I find Flirty Flamingo to be one of the ones that I struggle with a little bit. Not a lot, just a little. Some of the other ones are a little bit easier to blend out. Got the right end that time. So some people are really good at just sitting and coloring and talking, and I tend to get quiet when I color. Though I can tell you a little story about when I was a kid. My Aunt Sally Johnson, who is an artist, did not really want us coloring other people's pictures. Like, so traditional coloring books with a horse or a dog or something, she wasn't really into, and didn't want us to have them. So, I mean, I'm sure we did, because I'm sure my mother got us some somewhere or something, but most of our art supplies were given to us by Aunt Sally. And so she gave us these really cool, they were called Altar Design, and they just had beautiful geometric patterns, and you could kind of color all the triangles in one row or something, and get some really neat designs, really funky. And now that's what everybody's coloring, but back then they were kind of novel and interesting, and we would try and see how different, because you got multiples of each design when you in the book, and so we would try and see how different we could make the same design look by coloring different parts of the pattern or whatever. That's kind of cool. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up this flower, and then I'm going to leave you guys for the evening. And I hope that those of you who are joining me tonight will come back and find me other times. I will try to let people know ahead of time when I'm going to be here, and let you guys know what we're going to kind of be playing around with, and some different kinds of things, so that you can kind of play along a little bit. I think on Wednesday, what we'll do for the live on Wednesday evening, probably around the same time, probably around 7. That gives Rich and I a chance to eat dinner and all that good stuff. So around 7-ish, if you want to have a couple of pieces of cardstock, or at least one sheet and your trimmer, so that we can do a little trimming and scoring. You'll also need some pieces of white for stamping on and stuff. And I will show you kind of a cool fold. I like to find interesting folds that still fit in a regular envelope, that aren't super complicated but have a nice wow factor when they come out of the envelope. I know some people spend a long time making really, really complex cards and stuff. I will tell you pretty much right now, right ahead of the game, that's not me. That's not what I do. I want something that looks great, that I'm proud to share, but doesn't take me hours and hours and hours. So if that's the kind of crafter you are, then I welcome you to join me. If you are more the, I'm looking for something really complex and crazy over the top, there are demonstrators out there that are happy to show you those kinds of things. And I wish you, the best in finding them. For me, though, for the last 18 years, it's always been about what can I make that's beautiful and fun, that's not going to make me crazy. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And it's one of the reasons I love our paper pumpkin kits, because that's kind of the kind of cards that you're going to get with paper pumpkin. Fun, cute, well designed. Sometimes it's a project. Anyway, they they try really hard to design a really nice walls and that sort of stuff. You don't even have to have a snail adhesive. I recommend one because it's a lot easier than using those tiny little glue dots that come in the kit. But you don't have to have one. I also have other blocks, and I generally pull out the larger version of whatever color Stampin' Spot comes in the kit that month. And I love that we get these beautiful stamps that we can use for something else. And with people feeling kind of closed in, and with the snow that's happening, I think maybe this pretty flowery card probably needs to find its way into a neighbor's mailbox or something, just to kind of brighten somebody's day. In fact, I have a neighbor just down the street that I'm thinking of, and I think I might just give her, just walk down the street and check in on her and leave this for her. So that's coming out really quite nice, I think. Sit in color for hours. In fact, my mother would probably tell you that I used to do that. If I wasn't coloring, I was probably reading. I was good at all of those quiet and sit still kind of activities. Things my sister was not so good at. I mean, she could color and stuff, but she didn't choose that as an option most of the time. I was the quiet sitter most of the time. And so, kind of fun. So let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh, some of you know this kind of sad thing that happened. So with this virus and everything that's going on, we have had to postpone Shannon's wedding. My daughter Shannon was supposed to get married April 25th to just the sweetest guy. And so they're still going to get married. It just looks like it won't be until late fall at this point. So that's been a rough thing to kind of navigate, changing everything. And we worked so hard on the invitations, and Shannon did such a beautiful job, and then to have this all happen and have to change everything has been a little bit trying. But we're healthy, and that is really the most important thing, is that we are all healthy. And this is inconvenient, but at least we are healthy, and we will get through all of this, and we will see her get married to the wonderful Patrick. Probably, well, I'm not exactly sure what date. It depends on a couple of things, but I think she's pretty close to deciding on, because we had to also choose a new venue. And let me tell you, when you've only got 6 months and not a year, like we had when we were choosing the venue before, your choices are a lot more limited. I just have to say. So anyway, so there we go. I could fussy cut that out, or I could add a greeting. Ooh, I wonder if that one's on a block. It is. Hallelujah. All right. And we'll just take my Memento Black and use, so we're just going to use a little of last month's paper pumpkin and a little of this month's paper pumpkin. So this one says, wishing you brighter days ahead. Perfect. Excellent. So then I will finish it into a card, put a layer underneath. I may trim that down just a little bit. And I will take a picture of the card and share it with you guys a little later. And I will try to remember to have the pretty paper that I can show you coloring. I love that the image is very similar. Isn't that pretty? So anyway, I will do a little bit more of that and show you I'll post a picture of the finished card. And we will talk to you next time. I hope maybe you tune in on Wednesday about this same time, right around 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right, talk to you later. Bye.